If you are searching for a really good cosmic horror movie, after drawing the well of the very limited supply of decent existential horror films, Alien Code is a movie you would definitely enjoy. It is a movie that true connoisseurs would and will cherish. It is true Lovecraftian horror at its finest. There is the feeling of loneliness, claustrophobia, dread, and the inkling of how little we matter under the magnitude of the universe. Yes, the fear of the unknown is strong in this one, so let's stare into the abyss. First, let me give you a quick synopsis. In Alien Code, we follow the protagonist, Alex Jacobs, who is an American cryptographer. In his living room, he finds a dead body of himself. Objectively, a pretty awkward situation. The corpse holds an envelope that contains a mysterious USB drive. Trying to make sense of this uncomfortable situation, Alex fires up the USB. There, he finds a video of himself explaining in detail what happened prior to his death. He starts the story by affirming that a woman working for Arist, a shady contractor under the supervision of even shadier NSA, offered a job to our protagonist. That woman explained to him that the government had intercepted an American satellite and that his job will consist of decoding a message found inside. Of course, it is not just any satellite that they intercepted, it's one coming from the future. Spoilers, the message did not contain winning lottery numbers. So, of course, at first, Alex is reluctant to take the job. He questions the dubious implications of it. After the persuasive arguments of the mysterious woman, who blackmails him with dark secrets from his past and an interesting salary, he accepts. A rational decision, since he was unemployed and he knew that because of his past, nobody would ever hire him. So, after he decodes the message, gets recognition from the president, and is paid a generous amount for saving his country, Alex finds that he has a lot in common with the mysterious woman named Lisa, who, finally, in a world filled with fear and pain, gives comfort and understanding to Alex, who shortly proposes to her. In the end of the movie, Alex is ready to meet Lisa's parents, who apparently are very demanding. This leaves a cosmic existential cliffhanger. Will he be accepted by his future in-laws? Jokes aside, that is absolutely not what happens. Everything goes downhill after Alex takes the job offer. Now, if what you have heard has piqued your interest, then we recommend that you just watch the movie, because we are entering spoiler territory. Before you ask, yes, at times Alien Code can feel like a low-budget film because of the lack of sophisticated special effects and the noticeable lack of extras. But that is more of a gift than a curse. Let me explain. It is because of the atmosphere, the isolation, the scarcity, that the feeling of overwhelming cosmic horror is achieved. At the moment, we will venture into spoiler territory, so again, if you haven't seen the movie, go and watch it. It is only 1.5 hours long. But if you don't have the time or can't wait for the genius behind the ending to be discussed, then we invite you to stay. So, as was established, Alex takes the job offer. He is then immediately transported to an underground government facility to then start his decoding efforts. While he is decoding the message, we can see the satellite next to him, right there. Neat little thing, right? So, while Alex is down there, he finds out that in his bed, on a metal part, was carved in binary a name, which belonged to the previous cryptographer who tried decrypting the code. Beth Carter. It will come in handy later. So, after succeeding in the Herculean task of decoding the complex message, after making great sacrifices of time and energy, the NSA unceremoniously and without any gratitude kicks him out. When Alex goes back to his home, he doesn't feel so good. He starts throwing up and his symptoms only worsen over time. We cut to another scene, where he hears something really unsettling on his radio. We can hear, which just makes your skin crawl. At that point, we are wondering what he's trying to communicate with him. To add to the already uncomfortable scene, we can see two pale figures on his front door. Those are the Men in Black. Their facial expressions are just unsettling for both the viewer and the protagonist. The Men in Black reveal the content of the encrypted message and announce that it was a blueprint for a weapon of mass destruction. Then they start questioning him, asking him why he took the job and if he feels any regret for ever taking the offer. With curiosity, they observe the main character whilst he starts getting dizzy, and in the days of the headache, we see this. Like, why did no one see this movie? It is genius. After this strange encounter, Alex desperately tries to remember what he actually deciphered. He tries writing it all down on his computer, but the NSA, being the NSA, had already bugged his personal computer and shuts it down with a click. Afterwards, he receives a call from the woman, warning him to not do it again. After it is nighttime, and we get another perfectly executed heart-shivering scene. But it doesn't stop there. When you least expect it, when you think that he is in the safety of his own room, this happens. And it is then and there that you really start to feel this weird and uncomfortable sensation crawling through your spine. Even in your own home you're unsafe. They will get you. You start feeling paranoia taking over your senses. You know that from here on out, Alex won't be safe. He will always be watched by something or someone lurking in the darkest shadows, or from the deepest closets, whichever is scarier. Later, the lady working for Ares pays a visit to Alex and tells him that he has a brain tumor. Also, after he confronts her and tells her that he has woken up and has been in contact with strange beings, she tells him that he should stop trying to understand what he is witnessing. She explains to him that those are just hallucinations caused by the tumor. Luckily, the NSA feels generous and offers to fulfill any wish that our protagonist might have. I am paraphrasing, but you get the idea. He stubbornly refuses the offer and disagrees with her, so she leaves. So, with the feeling of despair, Alex renews his quest for answers. Then he finds a way to contact the other cryptographer, Beth. After coming in contact with her, the woman tells him that she has only 2 months to live and that she has been hallucinating a lot recently because of the mushrooms. The tumor. She voluntarily tells him very sensitive information. Beth reveals that she has not spoken to anyone for a long time, but she has been lately contacted by someone going by the alias Cypherman. First, it might seem weird and plot convenient, the fact that she's revealing so much information to someone that she barely knows, but later it is revealed that she thought that Alex was a hallucination. Alex miserably tries to explain that he's real, but Beth stubbornly claims that she never left her name in binary at the underground facility. This is actually good writing. We cut out to the morning and Alex reveals to her that he needs her help to destroy the machine of mass destruction. Then we see Slenderman's nephew trying to say hi. She tells him that she just wants to live in peace, so he leaves. When he comes back home, the woman from Arist and her bodyguards are there waiting for him, telling him that this is his last warning, and that he should stop pursuing whatever he was pursuing, because that satellite is now the business of the government, and they have only good intentions. She also tells him that he wasn't the only one who was affected by the radiation, suggesting that she also has a brain tumor. Then we see another scene with Beth going into a room of her house. We never know what she saw that was so horrible that it caused her to scream. But in a later scene, it is hinted that she saw the future. From then on, she joins Alex, and with the help of the elusive Cypherman, they together join forces to create a virus that will destroy the computer that controls the machine. Now, time for an actual good plot twist. It is revealed that the woman working for Arist was actually on the same page as the protagonist, because she was also having the visions caused by the tumor, which explains why Alex is still alive after trying to double-cross the NSA. She was actually the one that engraved the name of Beth in binary, which is actually a good reveal. Then she tries to explain that actually the machine is not a weapon of mass destruction, but something even more sinister. I love this scene because it illustrates, well, how if one day a government would find a satellite hiding inside the blueprints for a secret weapon, exceeding well beyond our technology, they would construct it without any questions asked. Almost like the Trojans bringing home wooden souvenirs. Yeah, and there's also this.
I'll buy you some time. Hurry, go, now, go!
Good job, lady. You really did buy them some time. Later, they meet with the real-life Cypherman, and he explains that he was one of the first founders of Arist. Nonetheless, it is not the first time that the organization found a satellite in space, coming from the future. Also, Cypherman was involved with Arist when the organization retrieved a satellite long ago and built the machine from the blueprints. He continues revealing that he had a hypothesis. It was that interdimensional beings had sent the satellite. After telling his hypothesis to his colleagues, he was stripped from all his titles, removed from Arist, and put in an asylum. In summary, by building the first machine, Ares had allowed the aliens to enter our reality and be able to see every event in human history. Pretty scary. And by building this second machine, it will allow them to effectively manipulate the fabric of time and space. Or, as he puts it,
the first machine was the remote, with which they could jump around at any point and watch the story. But they couldn't affect us. They couldn't alter. They couldn't interact. But I believe this new machine will enable them to reach right through the screen. And the closer we get to the machine's activation, the stronger we're feeling its effects.
Cypherman also explains that he also has a tumor, but his tumor is non-lethal. He also reveals that the tumors were not caused by radiation, but were a side effect of exposure to the satellite. And this has led them to see the aliens. He also explains that the machine has already been activated in the future, which in the linear time is the past for the aliens. As you can see, there is quite a resemblance to Donnie Darko, so that is why the time warping effects get stronger the closer they get to the activation of the machine. Then, strange guttural sounds interrupt the conversation, and the protagonist with the girl flee, letting the old man stay behind. It is actually an alien that was behind the old man's house. There is actually a whole scene of him showing the alien to Alex and Beth, but strangely they can't see it. He says that it is his best friend, the oldest friend that he has ever had. And it is that same friend that will cause his death. So, they flee to a motel and make bombs to destroy the machine. Anyways, they arrive to their destination thanks to the old man that gave them the map of the Ares facility. When they arrive inside, we see how the machine is affecting time, warping it, creating loops in time. Now, let's get real for a minute. These last 10 minutes are out of this world. It is here where, if you have not yet watched the movie, I am going to recommend you to go ahead and just watch it. I sincerely recommend it, if just for the last 10 minutes. It is really worth it. So just go and watch it. There are a lot of things that I skipped over, so just give it a watch. This movie got really overlooked, and it is a hidden gem, so just go ahead and watch it. Now, this will be the part where I tell you why this movie is better than it's getting credit for. It is here where the Lovecraftian aspect kicks in, and we watch the protagonist struggle to stay conscient and sane. Trying to destroy the machine, the protagonist is transported to another dimension, and an alien is present with him. The alien mocks him, saying that all humans are powerless and that he doesn't even understand how a being could be so inefficient. The alien reveals how our perception is warped, how we only see things that we project, how the way we observe by itself is an illusion shaped by our thoughts and perception of life, how in the end people are only a body of flesh and they will die no matter what. How we can't even be able to control our own life, and there are points throughout that we can't do anything about. This scene hits so hard to the stomach. We can understand how the higher being is just toying with the protagonist, making him only a mere pawn to satisfy his curiosity. It is by letting Alex go back in time and warn his past self to not take the job, by recording a video of himself explaining the story, that the alien toyed with the protagonist all throughout the movie. It is when the credits roll where you feel a hole in your soul. We realize that we would be powerless if something like this happened. And not only that, we are still powerless. We are not even able to escape death, a tragic condition humans objectively display in the grand scheme of things. To leave this on a bright note, wouldn't it be funny if actually this is really a misunderstood Lovecraftian horror, and that the black being was actually just Nyarlathotep, forgetting to introduce himself, he just wanting to awake Cthulhu, and then Azathoth awakes, and when he awakes the credits roll. Wait, or even better, Alex wakes up and it was all a dream. Sure, this movie contains dumb scenes like when the protagonist doesn't even question what happens.
I am going to assign a 1 to the vertical spin, and let's make the diagonal 0. Let's try that.
Like, come on, how dumb are you to not let that freak you out? Also, somehow Alex never mentions the Men in Black when they just question him and seemed suspicious to the NSA or ARIST. It's not like when he asked them to show identification they did, and he only mentions them briefly, not giving them a second thought. But in the other hand, the movie has very cool scenes. Like how the protagonist finds out that there was another person before him by finding the binary engravings at the side of his bed. And actually the woman that also tried to decrypt the code never left her name engraved in binary, which makes us question if he imagined it and just hallucinated it, or maybe there is a double agent in the NSA or ARIST. Also, the movie shows how grateful a government would be to someone decrypting something of importance to them. And by helpful, I mean cutting ties with the person who helped them, cold-bloodedly, metaphorically saying it's nothing personal, just business. Think about war veterans. Also, there is this scene that the two characters share that is quite interesting. It is just so scary, but it is done nonchalantly that it gives it a certain je ne sais pas quoi. Well, I hope I did this film justice. Thank you for watching, stay tuned for more, and remember, sleep with one eye open.